First and foremost, before we get started, I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rekah Kwadash, and the Bon Stills Greek Mill Song, While Unto Truth, and also to those elect that is scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom, and come back here today with another great, powerful lesson, the spirit and the power of Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. And the title of today's lesson is Watchman Report, Airstrikes on Iranian Embassy. So I like to say Shalom to all I listen and learn. Hope this will help you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. So before we start today's lesson, I have a quick news article here by Reuters. And it reads, it said, Iran says Israel bombs its embassy in Syria, kills commanders. Let's get a little bit more. It says here, Damascus, April the 1st, Reuters, it says, suspected Israeli warplane bombed Iran embassy in Syria on Monday in a strike that Iran said killed 7 of its military advisors, including 3 senior commanders, and that marked a major escalation in Israel war with its regional adversary. So we already seeing right now things is getting ready to escalate. So we seeing that this Ezekiel chapter 38 war is constantly it's constantly coming together. You know, we seeing that the Lord is constantly gathering the nation. So we already know that the least of the flock, which in fact is Israel, is getting ready to draw out America, Babylon the Great, in his last and final war, right before the great and glorious return of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. We knowing that it's fast approaching. We seeing that things is constantly picking up. We seeing that nations are rising against nations. We seeing what rumors of wars are all over the place. Right here in our own backyard is already rumors of civil war right here in our own backyard. Also, we already knowing that this April the 8th, they are constantly talking about it left and right. What are they planning? So we are seeing right now that ever since October the 7th, Israel and Hamas been going back and forth, all these different things. Oh, it's about this Gaza Strip. A lot of things are happening. Bible prophecies are speaking loud and clear. So it's high time to prophesy. That's why the Lord has set up watchmen to warn you, about these impending dangers, about war, about pestilence, about an evil time of trouble, which in fact is Jacob trouble. It is at the door. And also we knowing about the MOTB. All these things are fast approaching. And also this great economic collapse, this digital society, this is going to work hand in hand with this with this CBDC, this digital currency, and also with that grain of rice. It's going to work hand in hand. All roads lead to that, the MOTB. So we already knowing that these things are coming to pass. We knowing that we are fast approaching our salvation. Our salvation is at the door. And one thing about it, we seeing that we're living in a very ill time right now, very dangerous time. We seeing that, this is a declaration of war. We already knowing that Iran will respond. It's already been prophesied. And also we knowing that the Lord has removed the Northern Army, which in fact American armed forces, over into this desolate wasteland, which in fact is Saudi Arabia. Just like the Bible says. So the Lord is going to meet them in the valley of Jehoshaphat. All these things are lining up just like clockwork. The Lord is very close. The Lord is coming. The Lord is coming. So we're knowing that we're here. It is at the door. We're seeing that war is brewing all around. Also, we knowing that the heathens are raging. So we already know it's going to be an escalation. Any given day, all hell can break loose. And one thing about it, a lot of people right now, still are in peace and safety. But when they say peace and safety, then total destruction will come upon us. So we're right at this time. It could be a nuclear exchange, while you're sleeping. The devil's constantly getting busy. So the title of today's lesson, once again, is Watchman Report, Airstrikes on Iranian embassy. So let's go to the book of Jeremiah before we start today's video. We'll start here in the book of Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 45. Let's get this quick precept. And it reads that, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he has taken against Babylon, and his purpose that he has proposed against the land of the Chaldeans, which in fact is America. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. That's talking about Israel. And he shall make them their habitation desolate with them. So one thing about it, we already knowing that, This is going to bring what? Russia into it. It also is going to bring what? Iran into it. China also is going to bring America into it. We already know what's going on in the Red Sea. We already know that what? Great Britain is there. We know that what? Russia warships are there. Great Britain warships are there. We know that Iran warships are there. And all, you know what else? I said Russia warships are there. So we seeing that they know things constantly picking. Also China warships are there. You know, this is a major chokehold of the whole world, you know, dealing with your exports and your merchandise. You know, a lot of grain and a lot of oil is moving through that area. So that's a major choke point right there. I think the Straits Hormuz is running down through. If not, it's on the other side of the Persian Gulf. I have to look at the map and see. But one thing about it, we're seeing that these things are lining up. So let's read this again from the top. Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 45 said, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he has taken against Babylon, and his purpose that he has proposed against the land of the Chaldean. It's talking about America, Babylon the Great. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Who shall make their habitation desolate with them? That's talking about Israel. So Israel is going to get it popping. You know, they're going to draw America into this war, this last and final war. Already been prophesied. It shall be desolate together. So we know that Israel will be nuked, and also America. But Israel will be built back up. You know what I'm saying? That will be the kingdom of heaven that dwells in right. The Lord got to cleanse that land with that fervent heat before we can come back into our land and be with our Lord and Savior forever and forever. Verse 46, it said, and at the noise of the taking of Babylon, which in fact is America, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nation. So one thing about it, in 1 hour thy judgment shall come. When you go to Revelation chapter 18, will tell you, you know, that noise is what going into this what? Nuclear exchange, the thermonuclear fire, the indignation of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. The Lord is getting ready to gather the nation, and the Lord's getting ready to burn them with the fire of his jealousy. You know what I'm saying? It's coming very soon. The Lord is getting ready to show up. That's why the Lord said, look to the east, to the brightness of his coming. The Lord's getting ready to destroy all these armies in the valley of the city, in between that desolate wasteland right there in Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? The Lord's going to meet in that valley. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about it, the body count is getting ready to be great. And once again, the title of today's lesson, once again, is Watchman Report, airstrikes on Iranian embassy. So we'll start today's videos, and after the video, we will start the lesson, and I hope that you will get edified.
An Israeli airstrike reportedly destroyed the Iranian consulate in Syria, assassinating the commander of the IRGC as well as 5 other officials and reportedly his deputy, making this the most senior member of the IRGC to be assassinated since the U.S. drone Soleimani. Right, and this is big, not just because of the target, but also because of the location. The airstrike was conducted on the consulate building just feet away from the Iranian and Canadian embassy, which has been closed for 12 years, with now Iran saying they will respond harshly and that the strikes violate diplomatic norms and international law. But follow to stay in the loop.
Emergency workers scaled rubble inside Iran's embassy compound in Syria after a suspected bombing by Israeli warplanes on Monday. Tehran said the strike killed 7 military advisors, including 3 senior commanders. The target, according to Iranian state media, was top Revolutionary Guards commander Mohammad Reza Zahedi. He had been a senior commander in Iran's elite Quds force, the Corps' overseas arm, according to the Guards. Iran's ambassador to Syria, Hossein Akbari, said Tehran's response would be harsh. Syria's foreign minister condemned the attack. Its state media cited a military source saying Israel launched the attack from the occupied Golan Heights and that its air defense system shot down some of the missiles. The strike appeared to signal an escalation in Israel's war against Iran's regional proxies. Israel has long targeted Iranian military installations in Syria, as well as the proxies. Monday's attack marked the first time Iran's embassy compound itself had been hit. Since the attack on Israel nearly 6 months ago by Palestinian group Hamas, which is also backed by Iran, Israel has ramped up strikes in Syria against Iran's guards, as well as Hezbollah, the Tehran-backed Lebanese armed group. They both support Syria's government of President Bashar al-Assad. The White House said it was still looking into reports about the strikes. while State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said the goal is still to prevent any possible escalation of conflict.
But of course, we are always concerned about anything that would be escalatory or cause an increase in conflict in the region.
Israel typically does not comment on its attacks in Syria and declined to do so on Monday. Although it also said on Monday it had stopped weapons from being smuggled into the West Bank from Iran.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you heard it already, but it seems as though America may be on its way to war. Israel just bombed a consulate, killed 2 generals in Syria, and if I'm studying a military strategy, I'm pretty sure that Iran is going to bomb the shit out of Israel, which brings the United States into it, which brings Russia into it. I don't think that it's fair that we have to fight Russia for Israel on Israel's behalf. No one agreed to bombing the consulate in Syria. I mean, no American I know agreed to that shit. And Donald Trump, if Joe Biden agreed to that shit, he need to come out and say something and then explain that shit to us why the fuck he agreed to that shit, because he knew the ramifications of it. But, you know what I'm saying, ain't trip about it, you know what I'm saying? My black and brown brothers and sisters all over the United States of America, I hope your antennas is up. Where your antennas at?
Yeah. Back what I'm saying is that, we already knowing that, these devils, are preparing for war. We seeing that these things gonna constantly escalate left and right. And one thing about it, we already know that this has been already prophesied. So we already know that we're already at war, but things are getting ready to be full circle very soon. So we'll start today's lesson in Matthew chapter 24, Matthew chapter 24, and we'll start up at verse 6. A quick lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. And once again, I hope that you will get edified. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6, it said, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of war. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Let's read this again. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6 said, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Verse 7 said, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famine and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places." So we seeing what rumors of wars all over the place. Also, we seeing these nations are constantly rising up against nations. We seeing that what the heathens are raising left and right. We seeing earthquakes in diverse places. We at what the beginning of sorrow. We seeing what the birth pain. We seeing that what these plagues are not slacking down. We seeing them on every side. And constantly what brewing. Evils are growing all around us. And one thing about it is that we knowing that we're very close. We seeing that these prophecies are lining up just like clockwork. So we knowing that we're at the beginning of sorrow. We knowing that, that time of trouble that we have never seen before, which in fact is Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation. It is fast approaching. So now let's go here to, one more. Let's go here to Ezekiel, just rolling in the spirit. Ezekiel chapter 38. Ezekiel chapter 38. Ezekiel chapter 38, and we'll start up at verse 4. Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 4, it said, "And I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shield, all of them handling sword." And one thing about it is that we knowing that the Lord is putting the spirit on Russia. We already knowing that Russia will be a guard to these other nations. We already knowing that these things are getting ready to get serious. We knowing that Iran will respond in some sort of fashion. And one thing about it, we already knowing that Israel and also America get ready to get their asses knocked off very soon. And one thing about it, the Lord's getting ready to bring forth that judgment. So that's why the Lord is constantly, putting the hooks in Russia's jaw. So we seeing that this Ezekiel chapter 38 war is lining up just like clockwork. verse 5, it said Persia, which in fact is Iran, modern day Iran today, Ethiopia, Libya, and with them, all of them with shields and hammocks. So, when it's talking about Libya and Ethiopia, it's talking about Africa, and also, with them, also these other nations going to be in collaboration, There's going to be a lot of these nations going to be coming down in the valley of Jehoshaphat. It said Gomer and all his bands and the house of Tugamor and the north quarters and all his bands and many people with them. And everybody's talking about Turkey, and also, talking about in collaboration, Germany also, all these nations are going to be in collaboration with Russia, They're going to come down and send down on Israel. Also in America, we know that America will be invaded by the EU, also NATO. All these nations are getting ready to turn against Babylon the Great. Also Israel, the least of the flock shall bring them out. Let's read this again. Verse 6 said, it said Gomer and all his bands and the house of Tugamor of the north quarters and all his bands and many people with thee. So we already know that, hey, it's going to be the wars of the last and final war. We already know that the body count will be great. So we seeing that we are very close to this time. We are very close. Verse 7, it said, be thou prepared. Verse 7 again said, but it said, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a God unto them. That's talking about Russia. So Russia will be a God, going to be the one that lead the charge. And one thing about it, we already know that Iran and we know that Iran and it's over there right now in the Red Sea. We know that they're in that area right now, and also Russia is moving warships in the Red Sea. I think it was last week over there in that Yemen area right there. So we already know that's Joel chapter 2. We'll get that in a minute. We see that these things are constantly lining up just like clockwork. So we already know that, the Lord is constantly moving the chess pieces around. We seeing that we're very close. We're living in the end time, real time. So let's read this once again. Ezekiel chapter 38 and verse 7 said, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a God unto them. Russia is getting ready to be the God, the front runner. Russia, China, Iran, the United Emirates, Germany. Oh man, all these, man, it's gonna be a bunch of them. You just get ready to come up against them. Man, I'm telling you, man, the EU. You know what I'm saying? So one thing about it, they get ready to burn the horn. Also, they get ready to burn Israel. The Lord is getting ready to cleanse that land. So the times of the Gentiles almost fulfilled. They done trodden the land down, got all sorts of wickedness. This rainbow coalition. You don't understand what I'm saying? These trans. You don't understand what I'm saying? So the Lord is getting ready to put an end to this nightmare very soon. So now let's go here to Joel chapter 2. Joel chapter 2 and verse 20. Joel chapter 2 and verse 20. And it reads, said, but I will remove far off from you the northern army, which in fact is America. You know what I'm saying? All the northern army, including the army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, and so forth. It said, and I will drive him into a land barren and desolate. It's talking about Saudi Arabia, that desert over there. It's right now it's desolate. It's dry, it's hot. Already know how desert is. With his face towards the East Sea, which in fact is the Persian Gulf, and his hinder part towards the uttermost sea, and that is the Red Sea. So we seeing that these things are constantly lining up just like clockwork. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he has done great things. So one thing about it is that we already knowing that America has spoiled many nations, and also the nation is getting ready to spoil America. America will be totally destroyed. We already know. And also the armies, we already know that America will be totally invaded. And also these warships and all the military troops that's over there right now, they all are going to perish. This last and final war right before the great and glorious return of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Let's read this once again. Joel chapter 2 and verse 20 said, but I will remove far off from you, the northern army, which in fact is America, and I will drive him into a land barren and desolate. It's talking about Saudi Arabia, that desert, you know what I'm saying, with his face toward the East Sea, the Persian Gulf, and his hinder part towards the uttermost sea, which in fact is the Red Sea. That's where they're gathering right now, in that Red Sea. We already know that things could escalate at any given time. We already know what the president of France did. You know what I'm saying? You know, they're constantly talking, get moving closer to Russia's border. So one thing about it, you know, all of a sudden now we seeing that Russia is moving, setting things into place. So anything could go down. So we knowing right now that Russia is getting ready to be a guard to these other nations. We seeing that things is constantly picking up. We seeing that the Lord is getting ready to return, man. We're very close. So rejoice ye heaven. So we seeing that we're very close to this time. So now it says here, it says, and his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he has done great things. So one thing about it, you know, so that northern army will be totally destroyed, and the body count is getting ready to be great. It's going to be a total wasteland. You know, when the Lord returned with that laser and chariot fire, and also the indignation. So these IBCM missiles are getting ready to fly. It's getting ready to be a thermonuclear exchange. And one thing about it is going to be a day of gloominess, a day of darkness and desperation. And one thing about it, you better be seeking the Lord, and also you better hope that the Lord is dealing with you and you're part of the elect. If not, you'll get ready to die. We're constantly warning you left and right. It is here, it is at the door. So now let's go here to our last and final script. Let's go here to Zephaniah. Salakia. Zephaniah, let's go back out. Zephaniah chapter 3. We'll close out here. Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 9. No, Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8. Salakia. Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8. And it reads that, therefore wait ye upon me, says the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. It's talking about this, what these IBCM missiles, these nuclear, thermonuclear missiles, these intercontinental ballistic missiles, they'll get ready to strike. And one thing about it, the Lord also is getting ready to strike. So when the enemy come in like a flood, the Lord's going to also lift up the standard. So a lot of things that get ready to come into play. We already know that we read upon this digital society. We know we read upon this April to 8, talking about this solar eclipse, but we're going to measure the time diligently. We're going to constantly be watching. We're going to constantly pray without ceasing. And one thing about it, we constantly enduring. You know, when the Lord already said, the same that endure, the same shall be saved. So we're seeing that Bible prophecies are speaking loud and clear. We knowing that we're living in the end time, real time, and also what? The great and glorious return of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. It is at the door. You know what I'm saying? Watch, pray, and be sober. And one thing about it, we knowing that the Lord is getting ready to do a mighty works. So the title of the daily lesson, once again, is Watchman Report. Airstrikes on Iranian embassy. So I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushua by Hashem, Rekah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom, Shalom.